a storm. So you're not going to be able to say with certainty what's going to get hit. So you're basically planning for them all the way from the Keys, all the way up into the Georgia, possibly into the Carolinas, all along the coastal areas as this storm tracks.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that, because you're planning for a whole lot of things, most likely major rainfall, and that means flooding. The challenges that poses.
Well, again, when you're doing this, the first thing you're going to focus on is the storm surge. That's what you primarily evacuate against. But, the concern about a slowing storm is that you could get, so much rain you start measuring in feet. And as that falls, that's not going to be coastal. That's going to be well inland. So areas like Orlando, potentially what could happen there if you were getting feet of water. What we saw in Houston with Harvey. That's really early to start talking about, but those are the things you're going to have to factor in. So what would you need to respond to that? Well, you're going to need a lot of boat teams. Florida has the Fish and Wildlife Commission, has tremendous capabilities. This is one of the primary things they train for in disaster response. And then looking for augmentation from the federal partners, what the Coast Guard brings in, but also what would possibly be needed from Department of Defense, pararescue helicopters and other capabilities. So all that's being dialed in, getting ready. It's just where does it go and how much do you need, still the question.
Craig Fugate, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Shall we do it one more time? I reckon we should, because this is kind of weird. It's weird. I got something, just a feeling. It's like, not like my other feelings I've had in the past. This one's stronger. Volume.
19 degrees on Saturday. You have to head to the markets. We are seeing an increase in showers with the front passing on Sunday. A dry, warm start to the weekend for you in South Australia as well. Adelaide is warming to 20 degrees with showers developing on Sunday. Glenelg 16. It's been a wet 24 hours for the west coast of the country as well. We have 4 cold fronts hitting over the next couple of days, and as a result, showers will be easing and then developing and then easing. Now, Perth saw over 25 millimetres of rain in the gauge to 9 a.m. Friday. You can see Cottesloe Beach, a bit of a cloudy start to the day. Gorgeous though. Now, it will be a mostly dry day on Saturday if you want.
Community and politics. And the National Integrity Commission is something that I'm absolutely pushing for in Canberra. And I will tell you, as a person who's been in the Labor Party for a long time now in this state, came through a very different model. I will not rest until Labor has restored the integrity of the name and the tradition for which we stand. People need to be able to trust our institution
and because our new process by the current government regarding assessing asylum applications doesn't give a second opportunity, there has only really been one opportunity for this family to tell their story. The recent developments haven't been looked into. There are basically, the country report the Australian government relies on assessing Tamil claims does not take into account the new reports that has come out from credible organizations like the United Nations, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, which says that Tamils are still being targeted by the Sri Lankan government. We know that in the past, when Tamils have been deported back to Sri Lanka, they were arrested. They have been, they ended up fleeing Sri Lanka and seeking asylum in other countries. We believe that Priya and Nadesh will be in danger if they get deported back to Sri Lanka. We're begging the Australian government to let this family stay here. They have so much support in this community. They've been contributing residents in this country. The regional Queensland loves them. There's been tens of thousands of regional Queenslanders backing this family. We're calling on the Australian government to let this family stay here. We're calling on all those involved in the removal of this family not to help the Australian government proceed with the removal. We're calling on Sky Traders and its CEO to say no to deportations to danger. We're also calling on airport staff. You can refuse to take part in removal of this family.
So the family has been in detention for quite some time. What is their condition? How are they coping?
The family has been taken to Darwin, so they were in an accommodation in Darwin. When I spoke to them this morning, they're being held in a holiday park in a caravan. Last night, over 50 guards, according to Piria, rounded them up and took them away. When the guards approached her, she contacted one of her supporters in the community, and as soon as I heard that news, I rushed to the MITA detention centre, but by that time the family was taken to the Melbourne airport. The children, I can't imagine the terror they would have gone through last night. One of our supporters managed to get through the fence and they saw Piria being dragged away by tens of guards, and I could actually hear the cries of those children in the background. How sad is that our government is treating fellow Tamils in this manner. We're calling on the Australian government to let this family stay here. The two kids were born here. They belong in the Australian community. Let them live here. We beg Peter Dutton to let this family stay here.
Okay, Aaron Malvarganan from the Tamil Refugee Council, thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you.
Villagers in the southern districts of the Kashmir Valley claim they've been tortured by Indian security forces. The accusations come in the wake of a crackdown after Delhi stripped the region of its autonomy and statehood. The Indian Army has called the accusations baseless and unsubstantiated.
Behind these razor wires lies an uneasy calm. Restrictions everywhere we go. But for many Kashmiris, the crackdown has come at a cost. We have come to investigate disturbing allegations. Soldiers came here, we are told, looking for violent protesters. 13 men were allegedly pulled from their beds, tortured and beaten. These brothers, like all the people we spoke to, were too scared to reveal their identities. We saw their injuries.
लात भी मारा, डंडे भी मारा, पावर भी लगाया, केबल से मारा. हम पूछ रहे, हम बोल रहे थे हमारा कसूर क्या है, कुछ नहीं सुना, हमें किसी की नहीं सुना, ना कुछ बोला, सिर्फ पीटते थे. हर जगह मारा, हर जगह, जिस्म पे हर जगह मारा. पावर टच इसलिए देते थे वो कि हम मारने से बेहोश होते थे, फिर वो टच देते थे, उससे हमको होश आता था. फिर वापस मिट्टी डाली मुंह में, चलाओ मत, चलाते क्यों हो. हमने उनको बोला भी कि आप मारो मत, गोली मारो, गोली चलाओ. हम खुदा से मांगते थे कि गोली लगाए, क्योंकि उनके जो वो टार्चर बर्दाश्त नहीं होता था.
हाँ दिखाई. Still in shock, this man shows pictures of his bruises. He believes he was targeted because he's a Muslim.
थोड़ा होश में था, ऐसा उन्होंने खींचा, मुझे लगा शायद उन्होंने मुझे दांत ही निकाले, इतना जोर से खींचा. फिर जब मैं फिर से बेहोश हो गया तो मेरे पर एक लड़का था, उन्होंने बोला कि उन्होंने जलाने की कोशिश की, किसी ने शायद उन फौजियों में किसी ने क्या कुछ बताया कि उसको मत जलाओ.
We put these claims to the army, who responded with a written statement. The allegations are baseless and unsubstantiated. The Indian Army has not manhandled any civilians as alleged. Security forces operate strictly to ensure safety and security of civilians. The Indian Army is a professional organization that understands and respects human rights. Kashmir has been mired in conflict for decades. It's one of the most militarized zones in the world. There is huge sympathy here for the militant groups, who are seen by many as fighting for freedom from Indian rule. Animosity between Indian security forces and locals runs deep. Often it's civilians who get caught in the battle. It's not just one village where allegations of torture have emerged. We've been told that several people across this region have faced similar experiences. We have come to a militant stronghold. Locals led us to this house, where they say soldiers tortured a young man. His brother is a militant.
दोनों हाथ निकाली, यहाँ पर रस्सी बांधी उन्होंने, टांग पर भी रस्सी बांधी और उल्टा लटकाया.
बहुत ज़्यादा मारा तकरीबन 2-2.5 घंटे तक टांग में फिर ये जो ऊपरी हिस्से टांग को उसमें फ्रैक्चर आया.
Across the rest of India, there will be little sympathy for the families of militants. They see them as Pakistani-sponsored terrorists. Many have celebrated Prime Minister Modi's bold move to revoke Kashmir's special status. Authorities say that they are gradually lifting some of the restrictions, but internet and mobile phones remain shut down. Thousands are in detention. Kashmir has been virtually cut off from the rest of the world, and anger here is growing.
Nicotine is classified as a dangerous poison in Australia, which means it's mostly illegal to sell e-cigarettes and vapes containing the addictive ingredient. It's creating political divisions and worrying public health advocates.
Have more than 60 gallons. As you see, most of these folks exceed that.
Mark Ryanek is a Venice resident advocate who runs the Venice Stockholders Association. When the homeless began to congregate here, residents took matters into their own hands and, on the advice of law enforcement, installed these planters to occupy much of the sidewalk in their neighborhood.
We had a constant problem with a very large homeless encampment here, and the people living in it were living right up against residents. You have a problem of break-ins, both into properties and into cars.
Have crimes gone up?
Crimes are way up. And then you have a lot of
that reparation did not prevent individual citizens from being able to get their day in court. And of course, that court ruling set this off. There have been multiple incidents in the last month or two that have shown this going back downhill. Japan has withheld the export of key chemicals for semiconductor manufacturing in South Korea, which of course is a huge export for South Korea. And that's notable for one reason, which is the economic reason. But the other is that if Japan and South Korea reduce their economic relationship, it actually provides an opportunity for a country like China to come in and provide
new opportunities for
the transfer of skills from.
Seemed to be a bit of a human rights theme there, would you say? I think so, yeah. Human rights takes a back seat. Governments become authoritarian. They bully. They torture. Bully and torture. People, civilians, lawbreakers. Always the accusation, you're a lawbreaker. Always there's demonization. Sometimes it's good people. People who are basically peace-loving people. Loving people. Good heart. And they get demonized by politicians. Demonized because they're technically a lawbreaker. And yet they're not. See, the most important laws on earth are the laws that were enacted after World War II, after it was found that the Nazis in Germany had done what they did to their fellow human beings, who they did not regard as their fellow human beings, because they had demonized them. For whatever reason, they no longer saw them as human beings, and so they tortured them. They used them as slaves. They executed them by the million. Human rights. It always has taken a back seat. So who won the war? Did the Western Allies win the war against the Nazis, or did the Nazis win the war? That's what I'm wondering. I think it's a good question. Because the West has a good relationship with Singapore. England, USA, Australia has a very close, friendly relationship with Singapore. So who won the war? What's the purpose? The purpose of the prophecy? float like Gabriel. Archangel in jail, and he dreams a bad dream. It's a nightmare.
With you, I do not understand the United States. Does love have a chance?
I want to live and fully understand what's at stake. Alan Vaughan, next on CNN.
President Trump announcing today that he is canceling his trip to Poland this weekend because of Hurricane Dorian. The Poland trip was intended to mark the 80th anniversary of the beginning of World War II. The Vice President, Mike Pence, will attend in the President's place. Let's discuss this and more now with Sam Donaldson, the legendary former anchor and reporter for ABC News. Always a pleasure to see you, sir. Give me your reaction to the President's decision not to go to Poland and send the Vice President instead.
Well, that's okay. He decided not to go to Denmark for another reason. Wouldn't sell him Greenland. He likes Poland. He's been there before. He likes the fact that the Polish government at the moment is hard right, and there's a lot of problems in trying to keep some democratic skin on it. So I'm thinking he's a little sorry he can't go, but the Vice President will be okay.
So the President is reportedly rattled about the potential of an economic downturn ahead of the election, and we see him lashing out at Fox News. He tweeted this yesterday, the new Fox News is letting millions of great people down. We have to start looking for a new news outlet. Fox isn't working for us anymore. The working for us, what did you make of that when you heard it?
He sees everyone around him, including Fox News, as part of his team. And if they're not part of his team 100% of the time, they're disloyal, they're treacherous, they're terrible, they're bad people. He doesn't understand that the news business, and Fox is a good news business between the hours of about 10:30 in the morning and about 6 o'clock at night. They have good reporters, and you can get the news straight there. It's the people who are doing the opinion making that are the problem from the standpoint of just being on his team. And so when he saw a reporter actually interview some Democrat, he said, they're not working for us. You're right, Mr. President, they're not working for you. I hope they keep on not working for you.
Well, I want to play this. It's from a radio interview that the President did this morning with a Fox News host. Watch this.
No, I'm not happy with Fox. I think people think Fox is for me. Fox is good. Look, Sean and Laura and Tucker has really been very good for. Well, Tucker's a little tricky, but that's okay. But he's been very good. And many of them, you guys in the morning are Ainsley and Steve, and you were a solid. I used to say you were a solid 6, maybe a 7, but you're getting much better. You're getting great.
It's interesting because all the people he mentions that he likes are opinion hosts. Is that telling?
Right. That's right. No, Chris Wallace, wonderful man. His father, of course, Mike set the stage. He's tough. He's tough on Trump. He's tough on everyone. Brett Baer, exactly. Shepard Smith. There's a whole bunch of people that work for Fox and have worked for Fox that I would hire in a moment in a good news organization. But unfortunately, Fox is tagged because it wants to be tagged. Now, let's be honest about it. No one's dragging Fox, kicking and screaming. The Murdochs, poor Murdochs, oh my goodness, they like it. They like the fact that they've got a big audience, cable audience, not as big as the commercial people, but they're a big audience, and they're making money.
Let's talk a little bit about the G7 and what happened there. In addition to pushing for Russia to rejoin the G7 this past weekend, the president is also reportedly considering a plan to block $250 million in military assistance to Ukraine, something Putin would certainly like. Why does the president seem to go out of his way to help Russia and Putin?
He helps Putin whenever he can, in every way. He still denies that Putin had anything really to do with our election in 2016, certainly not to help him. We've been helping the Ukraine because Russia clearly has invaded Ukraine, has invaded the country, and we're trying to help them stay alive. And what is Trump doing? Well, we don't want to send any money to help them. I wonder why. I think it's easy to figure out. And Don, as far as that summit was concerned, there's so many lies, so many misstatements, so many reversals of position. But my favorite is this. He said early on that he didn't know who the bigger enemy was. Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of our Federal Reserve Board, or Xi Jinping, the communist president of China. Well, I can tell him, To the best of my knowledge, Jerome Powell is not building nuclear submarines who can sit off our coasts with nuclear missiles and launch them and 7 minutes later destroy our cities. So I vote for Xi Jinping being the biggest enemy. If he can't figure that out, we're in big trouble.
Yeah, before I let you go, I want to talk about the economy because the president's trade war shows no sign of stopping. Meanwhile, farmers and people working in the manufacturing sector are really struggling. This is more from his Fox interview this morning. Watch this.
The farmers have been targeted. That's how vicious they play the game. They actually target because they know that the farmers like Trump, and Trump loves the farmers, actually. I love what they do. They're incredible people.
I wonder how that sounds to farmers and I wonder if the president has any idea of what these farmers are going through.
Well, I don't know, because the polls say that the farmers aren't loving Trump, at least not the ones that used to. The soybean people, the people who have produce, the people who have meat, that China's not buying. You say, well, China, how dare it not buy? China's retaliating with their tariffs and suppressing buying our goods because of the fact that Trump started the war, the trade war. Did he expect that Xi Jinping, who can control 1.4 billion people, they may not like it. They're going to suffer because of what we're doing and what they're doing, but he can control them. Can Donald Trump control voters in this country? That's why he's worried. He sees a recession coming, and he doesn't know what to do about it except lash out at everybody else.
Sam Donaldson, thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Hurricane Dorian barreling towards Florida. We're going to have a brand new forecast for you next.
A city that we dream of.
The DJ. He's half Chinese by blood. He's half Chinese. He's half Singaporean. But he's British because he was born in London. So who cares about the DJ dreaming in a jail cell and the dream turns dark? Of course it does. He's in a jail cell. It's hell. Hell is a jail cell. After being tortured by the authoritarians. They are not God. They are the shadow of God. The shadow of God. Gabriel. Archangel. Gabriel is the one who found himself strapped to the trestle, being lashed with the Category 5 cane. And you do have to question, why did all the soldiers sacrifice? What was it all for? Freedom, they say. It was so we could live in freedom. 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 Gabriel, Archangel. Love. A man with a loving heart, tortured. Under law, the sovereign right of the country, the government, the sovereign right to torture, to jail, to imprison. People who are essentially peace-loving people, like the DJ. Peaceful, loving, qualities that are above law and order. Naughty, but loving. Law and order can be dictatorship. Law and order can be abuse of human rights. It was in Nazi Germany. So what was the war about? What was it fought for? What was the sacrifice for?
It all starts here, and that's why we're here, bringing
The angels. The angels tortured as if they were demons. Gabriel and the shadow of the angel. Gabriel is a monster. Dorian is ringing the bell, the alarm bell. Dorian is the DJ. Dorian knows how to send a message. Through music, through lyrics, with his eyes. He's a messenger. He's someone who likes to move people in a good way, in a nice way. Share the love, share the joy. A rule breaker? Yeah. A naughty boy? Yeah. But a boy with a lot of love. A boy of Gabriel. Gabriel. Torture victim. Imprisoned. Jailed. Locked up. And the torturer. Reflected in Gabrielle. She's the bitch. She's a monster.
I'm Anna Stewart in the City of London, and this is CNN.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Amanpur. This week we're dipping into the archives and looking back at some of our favourite interviews from the year. Here's what's coming up. A rare look inside Guantanamo Bay prison at the surreal trial of one of the 9/11 suspects. I speak with the defense attorney fighting for his life and the filmmaker sharing his story with the world. Then, rape in an Ohio town years ago, documented on social media by the perpetrators. Now, Roll Red Roll uncovers the lies, the denial, and the cover-ups. And a tech entrepreneur who only invests in women and people of color. Our Alicia Menendez speaks with Arlen Hamilton of Backstage Capital.
Is rolling on through, but the rain is well and truly focused from the north shore of Sydney and the northern beaches and through the central coast and southern parts of the Hunter district, with Newcastle seeing up to 18 millimetres by 9 a.m, 113 for Gosford, 43 for Sydney, 47 in Ulladulla, and 33 for Albion Park. Notice also Coffs Harbour, 22 millimetres in the gauge with a different weather system. Showers and thunderstorms yesterday afternoon and evening tracked through and dropped plenty of small hail that some people mistook for snow, as it was very fine small hail spreading right across the ground. In terms of what's to come, the focus is, well, it's pretty much where the radar is active at the moment, through the Hunter and the central coast and northern parts of Sydney seeing the best falls, with a few showers a little bit further north and south along the coastline. In the west, we've had some heavy rain there.
Jenna Phoenix. Phoenix. Nathan's a boy of the Phoenix. The angel mistaken for a demon. A dragon. Imprisoned. Oh, but it's a phoenix. Oh, we thought it was Lucifer. Oops, we put Gabriel in jail. Angel. Gabriel. Archangel. If you guys had any idea who you've put in jail, who you're torturing, I don't think you would have done it. Do you know what happens when an angel goes to jail? Wrongly demonized, wrongly judged, wrongly tortured. Do you know what happens? He can only dream in red. He can only dream in red. Of course he can only dream in red. You'd be the same if it were you. You'd be exactly the same. But he's an angel. Archangel Gabriel. Nathan, I said, is a boy of the Phoenix. Nathan breeze equals 119. It's 11.9 degrees in Canberra. Black Saturday equals 138. Yiming Yuan, 138. It's the value of his name. The man they tortured. The man they jailed. The DJ, the messenger. DJ Dorian. DJ Dorian. Dorian. DJ, Dorian. The messenger. Gabriel, archangel. The shadow of the archangel. Gabriel. Gabriel, the shadow of God. What is the shadow of God? What is the shadow of God? What is the shadow of God? Why did they demonize him as a con man when he's not a con man? He's just a naughty boy. Yellowstone National Park. That's where you'll find the geyser. Steamboat Geyser. When will its next eruption be? When will it be? The red eruption. Dirty girl. Gabriel is not Gabriel. Aaron, the name after Dorian. (1:57) in Iceland. It's 4:05 in London. It's 1:05 in Canberra. Friday, 30th of August 2019. Lorenzo equals 105. Lorenzo's on the name list. Lorenzo and Dorian. 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 Dangerous Dorian. Messenger. Messenger. Archangel. Gabriel. Gabriel is not Gabriel. Gabriel was a hurricane in 1989. The same year as Hugo. Hugo, exactly a month before Jake's abduction. 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 Abduction victim. Kidnap victim. I said something's going to happen. Dorian is a messenger. I was saying it last night. I'm still saying it because the feeling is true. The feeling is strong. Very, very strong. Donald Trump says Florida faces absolute monster. But who is the monster? What is the shadow of God? Lorenzo, 105. Yiming Yuan, 138. Black Saturday, 138. Nathan Breeze, 119. Who is the masochistic bad boy? Masochistic, 119. Attractive. Attractive, 119. Handsome boy. He's a handsome boy. He's a man, but he's a boy. He has the mind of a boy. He's a messenger. He's the messenger angel. You see? Sometimes it's true. Sometimes what sounds and seems crazy is true, and you know the feeling is true, because you just know. Sometimes you just know. Reflection 107. It's 1:08 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, Friday, 30th of August 2019. The video doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody said it ever did. Nobody ever said it did. Puff the Magic Dragon is 174. It's 17.4 in Perth. Daniel and Samuel, the twins in Red Rain, 13.5. In Melbourne, 135. Daniel and Samuel. Gabriel Byrne, 135. Bad Mirror Man, 126. Twin Bulbs, 122. Twin Bulbs. The warning sign. Coming from the boy they tortured. The boy man. Gabriel's DJ. Gabriel, Archangel. What is the shadow of God? You should have a bit of an idea by now. What is the shadow of God? Authority turned authoritarian. happen so easily, like the flick of a switch. Something unexpected, something you would never have guessed was going to happen, is going to happen. Something is going to happen with Dorian. Dorian, the criminal, the one they demonized as evil, and they took great pleasure in torturing him and jailing him and making him suffer horribly. Oh yeah, they did. Something unexpected is going to happen. Everything with Dorian is unexpected. Everything is. Everything is unexpected. He never does the expected. Never has, never will. He's not someone you can predict. His actions do not make sense. He can't stay inside the lines. He's not a boy who stays inside the lines. He never was. Never could be. Never can be. But he's loving. He's loving. He's a brat, but he's loving. Who's the real criminal? Is it the one strapped to the wooden trestle, being caned with Cat 5 intensity? Or is it the ones who are torturing him? Who is the real devil? Is it the victim? Or is it the ones who are torturing him? What is the shadow of God? Who is Gabriel? Who is Gabriel? Who is Lucifer? Satan. Take the letters in Satan, rearrange them, and you get Santa. Gabriel looks in the mirror. Who does he see? We can catch up next Thursday at 1 p.m. 111 is the value of providence. Providence. It's 111, 11. Today is Friday. Next Friday is September 6th. The Friday after, Friday the 13th. Thursday the 5th. We can catch up next Thursday at 1 p.m. His message was unspoken. The red eruption of Steamboat Geyser. More than enough signs. More than enough signs. It's funny how they traumatize people and then they feed them antidepressants. Governments, weird things sometimes. Weird. Not what they seem. Not what they seem. Today is Friday. 1:12. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Friday, 30th of August 2019. Skeptics will say, oh, you probably made different videos for different names. No, every video I'm making is about Gabriel. Gabriel. She's the one. The shadow of Gabriel. Hurricane Dorian, 158, is Hurricane Dorian. Western Park is 142. Twin Bulbs is 122. 22. Hurricane Hugo, Friday, 22nd of September, 1989. The storm before Hugo was Gabrielle. Way back then. Another incarnation of Gabrielle. Even back then, she killed 9 people. She formed again on Tuesday, September 11, 2001. Identical twins. The death of the identical twins. The deaths. The twins. The Twin Towers in New York. Gabriel formed on that day in 2001. Who's the con man? Who's the real con man? Is it the torture victim? Or is it the government official who gives the press conference justifying why they tortured him and denying that it's torture? Well, you can decide that for yourself. All by yourself. Who is the absolute monster? What is the shadow of God? I keep asking. Nobody's answering. 2 days, 10 hours, 27 minutes since Steamboat last erupted. Nathan Breeze, 119. And today, not just any day. It's not just any day. Today, the moon is dark. No light. Hell is 37. Where is hell? What is hell? Hell, what is hell? I think I know who knows the answer to that question. I think I know. Dorian, the DJ. Messenger. Oh yeah, black, no light. It's the 29th. If we go to America, it's the 29th today. Today is the 29th. If we go to the United States, black is 29. Here it's the 30th. It's no light. There's no moonlight. It's almost the new moon. It's at 8:37 tonight. It's now 1:15. The time is 1:15. No light, no light in your bright blue eyes. I never knew daylight could be so violent. The deadly snake. Who is the deadly snake and who is the nice snake? Messengers. Who is the venomous toxic snake, pretending to be God? What is the shadow of God? Black moon, supermoon. It's today. It's today. Twin bulbs. That's what I said. Bulb. 37. Bulb equals 37. Bulb equals 37. 137. Kinglake West equals 137. Call me crazy. I don't care. Freedom is the right to be crazy and not be thrown in jail because of it. That's freedom. Anything less is not freedom. It's not freedom. It's pretend. It's public perception management. That's what it is. Management of public perceptions is not freedom. 117. Selwyn. 117 is the value of the name Selwyn.